Welcome to NFL World, where NFL starts and ends. I'm your host, Jacob. And the NFL schedule release happened on Wednesday. We tried to do this yesterday. Webcam was not cooperating. So we're going to do it today in another stream directly after this. That's what we're going to do. So when the NFL schedule comes out, it's kind of like Christmas in a way. It's like Christmas, but then you have to deal with the whole glitz and the glamour of television. So it's 3-hour nonsense of would this team do good? We don't know. And all these storylines. That's basically what everyone does. So let's go with a week by week schedule, dates, times for all 72 games. I'm getting this off CBSSports.com. So week 1, first game is Ravens at Chiefs on NBC at 8:20. That would be September 5. September 6th, the game in Brazil is Green Bay at Philadelphia in São Paulo at 8:15 on Peacock, which I know a lot of people are not excited about. I was not. Personally, I find the games being put on smaller networks or smaller streaming services as a little weak and weak-minded because to me there's a lot better things you could have done than going and saying, let's put this on Peacock so no one pays attention. That to me is how it works. Like tons of people would have watched the Chiefs and Dolphins game more than what actually was happening. But because no one could really get Peacock or no one was willing to pay that kind of money, it just never made sense to have it. Now, this first Sunday of the year is September 8th. Pittsburgh against the Atlanta Falcons at 1 p.m. on Fox. Cardinals at Bills at 1 p.m. on CBS. Titans at Bears at 1 o'clock on Fox. Patriots at Bengals, 1 o'clock on CBS. Houston at Indianapolis, 1 o'clock on CBS. Jacksonville at Miami at 1 o'clock on CBS. If I can have my thing stop losing its mind here. Panthers at Saints, 1 o'clock on Fox. The 4 o'clock games, Raiders at Chargers on CBS at 4:05. Broncos at Seahawks at 4:05 on CBS. Cowboys at Browns, 4:25 on Fox. That is Tom Brady's first game covering for Fox, so I expect that game obviously to have a lot of viewing eyes, I should say. Commanders at Buccaneers, 4:25 on Fox. Then the late night game is Rams at Lions at 8:20 on NBC. And then on Monday, September 9th, Jets at Niners on ESPN, Monday Night Football. That's right, Aaron Rodgers again against on Monday Night Football. Oddly enough, Leonard Floyd plays now for the 49ers. Leonard Floyd was the one that sacked Aaron Rodgers when his Achilles blew out and just completely tore. So that's also interesting. Sometimes the schedule makers are a little cruel. Then week 2, the Thursday night game is Bills at Dolphins on Prime Video. Then on Sunday, Ravens at Baltimore on CBS at 1 p.m. Los Angeles Chargers at Panthers at 1 p.m. CBS. Buccaneer, excuse me. Oh yeah, no, that works. Buccaneers at Lions at 1 p.m. on Fox. Saints at Cowboys 1 p.m. on Fox. A very interesting 1 p.m. time slot. Dallas had 2 1 p.m. games last year. They actually have 4 this year. Also happens that 3 of those 4 games all at 1 p.m. are NFC South opponents. Just to let you know. Colts at Packers 1 p.m. on Fox. Browns at Jaguars 1 p.m. on CBS. Niners at Vikings 1 p.m. on CBS. I don't know why they would. Why did they do that way? I don't know. Seahawks at Patriots 1 p.m. on Fox. And Jets at Titans 1 p.m. on CBS. And Giants at Commanders 1 p.m. on Fox. Then it's I don't know. Rams at Cardinals 4:05 on Fox. Steelers at Broncos 4:25 on CBS. And Bengals at Chiefs 4:25 on CBS. That they're doing it early because I think the schedule makers are like, we were supposed to have this game. We did it late in the year, and then Joe Burrow got hurt. This is their alternative. Bears at Texans 8:25 or 8:20 on NBC, which is a weird game, by the way. And then it rounds out on Monday with Falcons at Eagles. Of course, 3 consecutive years in a row, Kirk Cousins has to go on the road on Monday Night Football, or Monday or Thursday, to play the Eagles in a primetime slot. Week 3, Patriots at Jets on Thursday night. Giants at Browns, 1 p.m. on Fox. Bears at Colts, 1 p.m. on CBS. Texans at Vikings, 1 p.m. on CBS. We'll stop after week 5 and then just roll out the more important games. Texans at Vikings, 1 p.m. on CBS, followed by Eagles at Saints, 1 p.m. on Fox. Chargers at Pittsburgh at 1 p.m. on CBS. Broncos at Buccaneers, 1 p.m. on Fox. Packers at Titans, 1 p.m. on Fox. Panthers at Raiders, 4:05 on CBS. Dolphins at Seahawks, 4:05 on CBS. Lions at Cardinals, 4:25 on Fox. Ravens at Cowboys, 4:25 on Fox. The first time that Lamar Jackson and Dak Prescott play against each other. Just to say. Niners at Rams, 4:25 on Fox. Chiefs at Falcons at 8:20 on NBC. Monday night is Jacksonville versus the Bills, and then there's a doubleheader as that game's on ESPN. The Washington Commanders at Cincinnati Bengals at 8:15 on ABC. All right. This is an early Thursday night game for the Cowboys. Cowboys at Giants on Prime Video. Little shock. They do 1 Thursday night game and 2 Monday night games. Very interesting. Sunday on the September 29th, Saints at Falcons, 1 p.m. on Fox. Bengals at Panthers, 1 p.m. on Fox. Rams at Bears, 1 p.m. on Fox. Vikings at Packers, 1 p.m. on CBS. Jaguars at Texans, 1 p.m. on CBS. Pittsburgh Steelers at Colts, 1 p.m. on CBS. Broncos at Jets, 1 p.m. on CBS. the Nathaniel Hackett revenge game number 2, as it didn't go well for the Broncos the first time around. Eagles at Buccaneers, 1 p.m. on Fox. Commanders at Cardinals, 4:05 on Fox. Patriots at Niners, 4:05 on Fox. That's Tom Brady's first game with Patriots. Chiefs at Chargers, 4:25 on CBS. Browns at Raiders, 4:25 on CBS. Bills at Ravens at 8:20 on NBC. And there's another doubleheader for Monday night between the Titans at Dolphins at 7:30 on ESPN and Seahawks at Lions at 8:15 on ABC. And the final one that we'll do, this actually has a game in Tottenham, in London, no less. Not London. No, UK. So close enough. Close enough. Bucks at Falcons on Thursday night. Jets at Vikings in London at 9:30 in the morning on October 6th. Panthers at Bears at 1 p.m. Ravens at Bengals at 1 p.m. Bears on Fox. Bengals on CBS respectively. Bills at Texans at 1 p.m. on CBS. Colts at Jaguars, 1 p.m. on CBS. Dolphins at Patriots, 1 p.m. on Fox. Browns at Commanders, 1 p.m. on Fox. Raiders at Broncos, 1 p.m. on Fox. Cardinals at 49ers, 1 p.m. on Fox. Packers at Rams, at 4:25 on CBS. Cardinals at Niners, 4:05 on Fox. Giants at Seahawks, 4:25 on CBS. Cowboys at Steelers, 8:20 on NBC. This game was one of the first primetime games the Cowboys had. They don't have any the first couple weeks. And the final one is Monday night, Saints at Chiefs on ESPN. Now, there are some games that we're kind of looking at with saying, my gosh, that's an interesting game. Obviously, Baltimore and Kansas City is an interesting game. Dallas and Baltimore is a very interesting game. I'm curious to see how the 16 quirks of the 2024 season, as the Chiefs hit a bizarre scheduling quirk that hasn't been seen in 97 years, as they play on 6 days of a 7-day week. Not the same week, but they play on a Monday. They play on a Wednesday, on a Thursday, on a Friday, on a Saturday, and on a Sunday. It's crazy. As it says, the Chiefs won't be playing on Tuesday. Back in 1927, the New York Yankees played every day except Monday. In 1927, they were not called the Giants at that point. They were called the New York Yankees. So, there you go. That's your history fact of the day. The Giants and Cowboys make history as in 2024, as I'm reading this right now, I've not actually read this before. It will be held on Thursday, which is notable because it's only happened 2 times in the past 98 years. Lions and Packers have done it 2 times as well in 2023. You have to go all the way back to 1926 for the instance where 2 NFL teams played multiple Thursday night games. against each other in the same season. Back then, it was the Bears and the Chicago Cardinals. That's right, Cardinals were also in Chicago. CBS scores NFL East showdown, or NFC East showdown for the first time in 3 decades, as the Cowboys Eagles play on CBS in Week 10. Normally, this game is played on Fox, but the NFL scrapped the conference afflictions for games starting in 2022, which is why CBS gets Philadelphia and Dallas for the first time since 1993. It continues on. Bears and Steelers will make history as both Bears and Steelers will not play their first divisional opponents until Week 11, which is the latest in NFL history that a team has played a division game. Previously, it was held by the Falcons, who didn't play anyone till Week 10 in 2019. And yes, the Jets are going prime time. The Jets and Aaron Rodgers, if he's healthy, are given 6 primetime games through the first 11 weeks. The Jets also have Week 5 when they play in London. Which also means they have 7 standalone games before Thanksgiving. Meaning they're going to get on TV so much, it doesn't even matter. They'll have 7 games before even Thanksgiving is played. London, for the second straight year, the Jaguars have back-to-back games in London. What an advantage for them. To go to London is hard. But to be able to say, oh, we're going to be here for a week, our bodies are going to kind of reset a little bit, and we're going to be fine. It's what they did. That as they do it week 6, when they play the Bears, that will actually be an away game, and then they'll be home against the New England Patriots in week 7. Here's a fact that should be also known. There will be no games on Christmas Eve this year, which is fascinating. The NFL has really tried to say, let's put games on Christmas Eve, which I thought was ludicrous. How are you going to put a game on Christmas Eve when a lot of these guys, A, have families, but B, have to play 3 or 4 days before that? It's ridiculous. No games on Christmas Eve, but a couple games on Christmas Day. The first time since 1936, the NFL has held 2 games on Wednesday. You really have to go back to the COVID year when the NFL had to hold games on Wednesday because no one knew exactly when a game was going to be because people could get COVID at any time. In this case, and what they cleverly put underneath it was it's Chiefs at Steelers and Ravens at Texans. All of this is a part of the new deal with Netflix. Netflix will carry both these games. Last year, CBS, Fox, ABC all had Christmas games, but this year the NFL put the games on Netflix as Netflix wanted a bid for it. So they did. This is also I want to say this for sure because I don't want to be wrong. The Eagles play 4 of the last 5 games at excuse me. That was voice crack. The Eagles play 4 of the last 5 games at home. The only road game goes against the Commanders in week 16. What I want to mention is I don't know if it's here or not. It might be, might not be. We'll see later. In the case of the Cowboys, they play one cold weather game all in December. That is against Philadelphia, which is the game on Fox. That will be December 29th. That's the game on Fox. Otherwise, it's domes or warm areas. Not too bad. Continuing on at number 10 now. Bears will get a taste of the South to start the season, as they will kick off against 3 straight games against the AFC South, which is the first time in 25 years that the Bears have opened against 3 AFC teams. Back in 1999, the Bears did it when they went 1-2 against the AFC West. A rough start of the season. Only 4 teams in the NFL who will have to play the first 2 games on the road this year are the Rams and Raiders. And the Steelers and Jets. Raiders, it's the second straight year that that's happened to them, which is insane. I'm always a person of, if we're gonna play multiple home games, just let us play them in a row. And that's not what happened. Back-to-back road games to begin for the Steelers, Jets, Rams, Raiders, excuse me. At the end, 5 teams. Sorry about that. At the end of the season, there will be 2 straight road games for, as my thing is losing its mind here. Hang on. All right, so here we go. Yeah, I think it's okay. It's 15. I'm only at 10. Actually, we're only at 12. Excuse me. There's 5 teams that have to play back-to-back road games to end the year. Panthers, Chiefs, Chargers, Dolphins, and Seahawks. Panthers are the only team that has to close the season against divisional opponents on the road, though. It goes and says, bye to the 49ers. The 49ers face 4 teams coming off the bye this year, giving them extra time to prepare against the 49ers. The 49ers have a minus 22 rest differential. I didn't know that was a thing, just so happens to be. The other teams have an extra 22 days to get ready. Put that in perspective, that's the 3rd worst number for any team over the past 22 years. Ravens can be well rested for their games. As Jonathan Jones put out, as the Ravens were not exactly happy. It was kind of weird because they have an advantage. The Ravens have a minus 16 rest, which means their opponents will get a total of 16 days of rest. Or they actually get 16 days of rest more than their opponents. Not only is that the highest for any team this year, but it's also the highest for any team when the NFL expanded to 32 in 2002. Continuing on, only one team got shout out of primetime. That was the Panthers. Well deserved. You only won a couple games last year. What did you expect? And an extra long road trip as Bills, Browns, Bears, and Vikings all have one thing in common. They play 3 consecutive road games. Teams that were stuck with 3 consecutive road games combined 30 and 30 on those trips. However, the last 2 seasons, 9 teams have combined for a total of 8 and 19. The Lions also have a scheduling quirk. They play 0 outdoor games for the first 15 weeks. Playing 13 of the 14 games indoors. Over that span, the only game that they have to play outside is against the Packers in week 9. You play 1 game in 15 weeks outdoors. It helps. It helps that a lot of your division has a dome stadium. If you look, let me try and see if I can grab this. I'm gonna have to go to teams. Let's grab the Chiefs schedule first. Let me see if I can do that. Let me grab the Chiefs schedule. Here we go. So this is the Chiefs schedule. I didn't use the NFL paper because it's so freaking confusing. It's nonsense that you're gonna have someone read a paper that has one line that has a team and it has 32 or 31 other of those lines. It's nonsense that are all color coded. You feel like everyone's gonna have a seizure because you're just like, what in the hell is this? You can barely see. You have to keep your hand so close to the paper, your head so close to the paper because you can't tell anything. So here's the schedule for the Chiefs. At Baltimore. No, home for Baltimore, home for Cincinnati. 2 home games. So the first 3 games, or the first 4, no, let me make sure I get this right. They don't play a 1:00 game until they play Denver in November. November 10th is when they play their first 1:00 game. They play Baltimore on Thursday on NBC. They play the Bengals in the 4:25 slot on the Sunday, on the second Sunday of the year. Atlanta in the NBC 8:00 slot on 22nd of September. 29th of September, they play the Chargers. They actually go, very interestingly, 2 home games, 2 road games. They play the Chargers at 4:25 on CBS. They play the Saints Monday Night Football in the first game of October. Then they have the bye week. They pick up again on October 20th at San Francisco, which is going to be a fun game to see a Super Bowl rematch. It's very rare, actually, that you see them year after year. It's very rare. Then they're at Raiders at 4:25, at Buccaneers on Monday night, home for Broncos, the 1:00 game on CBS, back on the road against Buffalo in 425. On the road, excuse me, again against Carolina at the 1 o'clock time slot. Then they play the Raiders on Good Friday. All right, on Good Friday on Amazon at 3 o'clock. Why do they insist of putting this game on Amazon? I don't understand. And putting this game on Good Friday and all this, it makes no sense to me. I'm not even. It's not even Good Friday. It's Black Friday. I messed up my Fridays. But why they choose to do this makes no sense to me. Then they play the Chargers at home at 8:20 in the NBC slot. Then they play a 1 o'clock game again against the Browns on CBS in Cleveland. Then they play Houston at 1 o'clock. They play a Christmas Day game against the Steelers on Netflix, which is the abbreviation is NFLX. Sounds terrible, by the way. It sounds awful. Doesn't sound like a football site at all. And then at Denver, the NBA. That's TBA. So they only play, I think, 3 or 4 1 o'clock games. It's not bad. It's also what happens when you go win 3 Super Bowls in 5 years. That's what's gonna happen. Now, let's look at this New England Patriots schedule, and we'll kinda give you the rundown of this. Lots of 1 o'clock games, I would assume. Bengals 1 o'clock to start the year. Home for Seattle, which is big because if this would have been on the road at Seattle, that would have been a disaster. Here won't be that much. The 1 o'clock time slot on Fox for Seattle, at the New York Jets on Amazon. At San Francisco at 4:05. Home for Miami at 1. Home for Houston at 1. At Jacksonville in London in week 7. Home excuse me, on the road against the Jets. No, I was right. At home against the Jets at 1 o'clock. Tennessee on the road against Tennessee at 1 o'clock on Fox. 1 o'clock on CBS again. 1 o'clock on Fox again at the Bears. 1 o'clock on Fox again at home versus the Rams. At Miami in late November. Home for Indianapolis. On the road against Arizona at 4:25 on CBS. At Buffalo in December 22nd. Home for the Chargers, which is TBA, and home for the Bills in January, which is TBA. And we'll do the Cowboys schedule, and we'll do one more. I'll leave it up to you guys who you want to do. Who you want schedule to see? Let's do the Cowboys schedule. And we'll do this all year long. You guys can put your favorite teams down and say, read the schedule, okay? We'll do it. But let's do the Cowboys schedule. They're on the road at Cleveland to start the year. That's the 4:25 game. That's the game with Tom Brady. That's gonna have a lot of eyes. Um, home for New Orleans, the 1 o'clock game on Fox. Home for Baltimore, 4:25 on Fox. On the road on Thursday Night Football against the Giants. That's on Amazon. On the road against Pittsburgh. That's on NBC at 8:20. So just to stop there, that's 5 games. They go home, or they go away, home, home, away, away. That's how they start the year. 3 of the first 5 on the road. Then they're home for Detroit. That's the 4:25 game. That game's gonna have a lot of impact, no matter what happens. Then they have the bye week in week 7. Week 8, Sunday Night Football, they play the San Francisco 49ers. If you're gonna beat San Francisco, beat them this year, because you have a bye week right before them. Then you're on the road again against Atlanta. So this is your schedule through the first 9 weeks of the year. At Cleveland, home for New Orleans, home for Baltimore, on the road against the Giants, on the road against Pittsburgh, home for the Lions, bye week. At San Francisco, at Atlanta. So you have a total, let me make sure I have this number right. 3 home games and 5 road games. Yeah, 5 road games. And then you're at home for the Eagles. That's the game on CBS. Home for Houston. On the road against Washington. First of all, I want to say this. Thank God this game is in November. Because I hate playing in Washington in January. I hate it. It's the worst thing in the world. So just to let you know that. Then on Thanksgiving, you're at home for the Giants. And then you actually go until Monday night. So you have a total, because you at this point, Houston, Washington, and Giants. And you can actually include Eagles in this situation, because you wouldn't be wrong. You go, let's see, that's 8, 6, that's 14, another 4 is 18. You play 4 games in 18 days, and 3 games in 10 days. It's insane. If you can get through all that, including that Thursday night game against the Giants, which is on Thanksgiving, I'm not saying that it gets easier to end the year, because you still play Cincinnati, Carolina, home for Tampa, at Philadelphia, and then home for Washington. But you at least get time off, number 1, since week 7, and you get about 11 days off before having to play again. So, as we continue on, your Monday Night Football at home against Cincinnati, at Carolina on a short week, home for Tampa, at Philadelphia, home for Washington. So you end the year 3 home games and 2 road games, after starting the year with 3 home games and 5 road games. That's just to let you know. And that's the one I think we'll do this. Let's do this. We'll do Houston. Let's do Houston, and we'll call it there. So this is Houston's schedule. They start against Indianapolis at Indianapolis at 1 o'clock. That's their first game. Home for Chicago on Sunday Night Football, which is weird. Sunday night game, just to say. Just doesn't roll off the tongue very well. At Minnesota on CBS. At Jacksonville on CBS. Both of those are 1 o'clock games. Actually, no. Home for Jacksonville. Home for Buffalo. Both those games are on CBS at 1 o'clock. At New England at 1 o'clock. At Green Bay at 1 o'clock. Home for Indianapolis. So they play Indianapolis twice in the first 8 weeks. 8-9 weeks. They play Jets at the Jets on Amazon. Home for Detroit on NBC. At Dallas on Monday Night Football. Home for Tennessee. Home for on the road against Jacksonville, bye week. Home for Miami at Kansas City at 1 o'clock on NBC. To do an NBC game. I think they misprinted that. Home for Miami was on CBS at 1 o'clock. Home for Baltimore on Christmas, and then on the road against Tennessee. So they play Jacksonville and the Colts. They finished that all up before their bye week, and only play one divisional opponent after. Now, granted, their bye week's really late in the year. They basically have their bye week in They have their bye week in December, as I'm actually just looking at this. They have their bye week December 8th, 7th or 8th. That's late in the year. That's almost criminal for the Texans. Texans fans should really be unhappy with that being in December. That's a long time. All right, so this, unless anything else comes in, the schedules are out. Like I said, during the course of the offseason, if you say, hey, read, let's say, the Bengals schedule. All right, we'll do it. Just make sure you put your favorite team's name in the chat along with schedule, and it'll be in. And we'll do that for you. For NFL World, I'm Jacob Hubert. Out.